Okay, welcome, Wille.
What's up, Marcus?
What's up? You have just played a beautiful and dreamy set here in the Ding Dong apartment.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Of course. You didn't come alone today. Who did you bring?
I brought my two favorite people, my wife and my daughter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun while listening to your tracks. And did you have any inspiration for today's set? I felt like there was a vibe that was consistent.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't an overarching. How do I put it? I mean, obviously, I started with some tracks where I was like, okay, these are my favorite tracks and stuff that means a lot to me. I think the thing that I always go back to, or the thing that really made me, because okay, I'm gonna let's start at the beginning.
Sure. I love that.
Because I've almost always DJ'd.
Yeah.
Always wanted to control
music.
The music at a party, kind
Sure.
of. And I remember doing it at I was in this theater thing called Gaventa, and one of the older boys, he helped me DJ with an iPod at a party in this big circus tent at a summer party thing, and just remembering that feeling, and I just always wanted to control the music at a party.
Yeah, sure.
Like a true kind of selfish narcissist.
Which somebody has to do it though.
Yeah, somebody has to do it, but there's some interesting stuff there, I think, about controlling stuff maybe.
Oh yeah, I've had the same thought actually. Also that you're putting yourself in a place where everybody can see you and you're contributing, but you don't have to speak and you don't have to be present in that way, and you can just control the vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Also because I never liked dancing. So it was also a way of being at the party. Yeah. And now I've grown to like dancing, but it was for a long time. I was I didn't really
feel comfortable.
No, it's just not a very bodily person kind of.
Yeah, sure.
If you put it like that, but okay, but
you're a sonic person though.
Yeah. But that's the funny thing, is that it was always just a separate thing to me.
Yeah.
The dancing and the music, and I feel like now more than ever I just really see it as one thing.
Okay.
But what did I want to say? I want for the set that I made now is I always wanted to DJ, but discovering particularly Todd Terje and that whole the Norwegian disco thing.
Yeah, sure.
That completely blew my mind, and that made that transformed my relationship with DJing, because I had been going to friends' parties and playing for a little bit of money and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when I heard Inspector Norse for the first time,
sure,
that was just okay, this is it. It made it into something else.
Yeah.
Because music had always been a thing, but the dance music part of it, the Michael Jacksons or the Bee Gees or whatever, that was a separate thing. And then I had, on the other side, it was the Beatles and Radiohead or something. It was art. It was there's art music and then there's dance music that works at a party. But I think
you didn't see them together.
No, with Inspector Norse, and I for the first time I realized, okay, there's something here. There's something that's dance music, but it's also way beyond.
Yeah.
It's also very emotional and
How did you explore that within yourself and with your producing and the stuff you were listening to else than only Todd Terje? But was there the Norwegian stuff? And
I mean, yeah, it's definitely all of the Norwegian stuff.
Yeah.
Prince Thomas, and I played in this set. I played I played Glittertind, classic older Todd Terje track. Played Symfonisk Udviklingshæmning.
Yeah.
It's a Prince Thomas track. And I closed with Åbenbaring, which is a guy called Black Belt Andersen. It's a little less known Norwegian guy, but they were all part of the same, I think, Oslo-centric disco, Norwegian disco scene.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of Italo disco in your sound, and a lot of Balearic stuff also. It goes together. How do you feel that mixture between those 3.
Yeah, but definitely. Like now, I'm making the connection that like all of the, because I think you could kind of make the case that Todd Terje is also Balearic.
Sure.
But I mean, also what the fuck is Balearic?
Yeah.
No one. It's just like DJ music. It's just like, but like if you explain it the way that Balearic is like started with people playing sort of things in Ibiza that you would normally consider dance music. So like playing Chris Ree or something.
Yeah.
If you, and I think Todd Terje pulls a lot from that in the way that I hear it, in how he approaches dance music. It's like it's coming from outside dance music. It's not like it's not through Larry Heard or
no, it's not from within.
No,
like it's
like from the other way around.
Yeah.
And that's in general, I think, what I really love about dance music, because it's always like that.
Yeah,
like Kraftwerk goes to Detroit.
Yeah, sure.
Or like, and then Detroit goes to Italy, and it's like back to Detroit again. Like this whole, I'm fucking up the.
Yeah, sure, but the mixture or the new connections that's being made all the time and still is within dance music. It's like there's always some new popular thing that's gonna infuse into the scene somehow.
Yeah,
and now it's just ever changing, and like every party and every day it's changing. It's not like there's ongoing scenes in that way. I feel like it's so fluid almost now.
Yeah, it's a lot together.
Yeah,
at least in our scene.
Yeah, definitely.
There are no scenes.
Yeah,
maybe, but I mean, still, yeah. But I totally get what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think from Todd Terje, because like that record was like also kind of like a concept record. The It's the Arps, the Inspector Norse record.
Yeah.
And was all made on one synthesizer.
I didn't know that really.
Yeah, and that and I think I was 14 at the time, and I couldn't afford synthesizers yet.
Yeah.
But I started really getting into, because I'm just going to talk about Todd Terje
Let's
for
go.
10 minutes, but like he had a website that it's not available the last time I looked. That's called, I think it was called Let's Nerd.
Okay.
Where it was just him interviewing different producer friends he had about synthesizers, and it was like these super in-depth, mega nerdy things. So I just started like reading all of these reviews and started to get into, get an overview of different synthesizers and what they meant, and try to find every single video I could with Todd Terje and then other producers.
Okay, you went into the rabbit hole.
And just like, what do they have? What do I need to make this music?
Sure.
And I think the thing that I've found all these years after now is that you just need like any synthesizer, kind of. Maybe you can make a case that it has to be analog, and analog is the sound of Todd Terje, and definitely is the sound of that, like It's the Arps record.
Yeah.
But I think if you just get one analog polyphonic synthesizer,
you're good.
You can do most things.
Okay.
It's like it's diminishing returns from there, definitely.
Yeah.
But and that being said, I think I have 7 or something. But but yeah, so it just started this journey of obsessing over synthesis and synthesizer and electronic music and dance music.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to create a set that reflected that.
Yeah.
The kind of dance music that's I don't want to say not house, because it's also house, but like maybe coming at it from like a different angle.
Yeah.
It's like dance music with a twist, and dance music that's not, it's kind of arrogant in a way.
Yeah, I see that. That's also the Italo disco kind of vibe, a little bit pointy somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And dreamy, all the Norwegian stuff you played as well. It went really, really nice together.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff you played, because you and I play together sometimes, and I haven't heard a lot of the tracks you played today, but what are one of your most played tracks on your USB?
Generally,
I
think I can't remember. I checked it the other day. It's that Jexopolis remix.
Yeah.
That I can't remember what it's called. It's Brazilian.
Yeah, we'll write it down in the show notes, but
but definitely that one.
Yeah.
But I also you can also play it in, like, 'cause I played a lot of different sets last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of like outside sunshine kind of.
It goes in different vibe, like in different places and different times of day and night.
If you're playing a long set, you can definitely play it in like any setting almost.
Okay. And a couple of times maybe even.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But what about you? You also produce your own music.
Yeah.
And when you go out and play, what track of your own do you play out the most? Do you have a favorite?
I think it's still the one called Midnight in Milan.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that track?
Yeah, it's like I made it like a lot of music is just like playing around, doing something and then see what happens. But I think that track I specifically sat down and was like, I'm going to make an Italo-inspired track right now. Yeah. And when you do that, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, this time it worked.
It was thank you, but it was also like a very like you always know that it's a good idea if it's very fast to finish.
Yeah.
Because then it's like it's logical. It just feels like you don't have to imagine what the next step is. Everything is just like, oh yeah, okay, so it's A, it's B, it's C, D, and
it's like flowing through you.
Yeah, so most of that track was just like made in 2 or 3 hours or something.
Does that happen most of the time when you make music?
No, but with the tracks that I'm most satisfied with, definitely. Yeah.
The quick ones.
Yeah, I think, but then obviously then sometimes you end up spending a week on it anyways.
Sure.
But most of it was done in that like one.
The general idea.
Yeah. And I'm definitely not the only one who does this. I'm a huge nerd.
Yeah.
And I love to read interviews and I love to like just take as much in as possible about like artists that I like.
Sure.
And it's something that a lot of them say. Actually, Torterje said that about Inspector Norse. That was also just like I think he said that's the fastest track I ever did.
I think that's it's like a common thing also in pop music and in everything, like the ones where the creativity it just flows and it's almost like you're not doing it. It's like you're just some kind of vessel for it to flow through. But it's such a hard thing to facilitate or to try to make happen. Like it's something you can't control. Or is it? You feel like you can.
There's a really good Picasso quote.
Okay.
Which because I'm just like Picasso, obviously.
Yeah.
No, but he said inspiration is real, but it has to find you working.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think what that means is that you have to like you have to have like a creative habit of creating something more or less every day, I think.
Sure.
And then some days it won't be good, but then the inspiration strikes all of a sudden because it's like a machine you're kind of working on in your head, I think. And I also agree that maybe stuff is maybe we receive ideas from like some either.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just that there is this like a certain like inherent logic in the universe. I'm saying so much like
I love it.
I'm saying way too much, but
I know I'm loving it.
But I just when I have these like sessions that like go very fast, it's not a feeling of like receiving anything. It's more like a feeling of it's there, but I'm just like carving it out.
Okay, sure.
So it's more like sculpturing or something.
Yeah, I see that. And you have to make it possible for it to flow. So you have to be in the studio and you have to have maybe a tied up room and like done stuff. So you'll be able to go with it. Like
and also have a workflow so you don't get stuck. Like, oh, how do I do this? Like, what's the hotkey for this or something? So like as few obstacles as possible.
Yeah, and I've seen you work and it's so quick. Like, And how long have you been producing music, and how long have you been playing music? Like, you're DJing a lot now and you're producing, but what is the history behind a keyboard or behind a DAW?
Well, I think like both of my parents are musicians.
Yeah.
So music has always been a big part of my life, but I feel like it wasn't until 5 years ago or something like that I really started feeling like not even like working quickly, but like, okay, I have an idea of I can make something worthwhile now. Yeah. I can make something that is worth sharing with the world, because I held it in for a really long time, and I also slacked. Like I was like,
whatever,
I can practice tomorrow kind of mentality. But I think definitely, like, having a kid, just kind of it just puts everything into perspective. Yeah, so definitely. Having Leonora was just like, okay, now it's time to do something. It's time to get good at it. It's time to like come to that place where I'm quick and I have as few obstacles as possible. So it's just like lifelong journey. It feels like. Yeah.
Okay, but I wanted to ask you about, you having a kid and also having another coming, and how do you manage your creative life, and how do you both produce music, play long sets in like late evenings, whilst being this family man as well as.
It's a good question.
Yeah,
it's not.
You don't even know, maybe.
No, but I mean, I haven't found a particularly good way of doing that.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm not gonna say like, yeah, anyone could do that, because I definitely I played a lot of gigs last year, and I'm trying this year to play fewer, because it's and like more quality gigs, kind of like prepare more, because it is hard, like reversing your circadian rhythm all the time, and just put you in like if you do it every weekend, you're like in a constant unbalance.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you do it once a month, I think it's probably fine.
Yeah, and if you do a fun job and it's not like, just a money grab and.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I also I do love it.
Yeah.
And when I like now I haven't been like chasing gigs as much, and that's been nice to have a few have weekends off, kind of.
Sure.
But at the same time, if there's like, I also want to play.
Yeah.
If it's 2 weeks, then I'm like, shit, where's my gig?
You kind of need the high as well. Like
I love playing, and I just want to like have it mean more when I do.
Sure.
And then it's fine to have a couple of days where I'm like readjusting afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
That is totally worth it, and I also like. I like to party, and it's a good way to, it's the perfect. And I think a lot of DJs are like. Don't you feel that you're probably also like this? That
yeah, definitely.
Like you have to be like a party person to gravitate towards DJing in the first place, I think.
Yeah, you want to be. You need to want to be in the room.
Yeah.
Like, else you could just produce or make stuff. But if you're pursuing DJing, it's also because you know and you feel that room has some kind of value, and I believe that's true, and you do too.
Yeah.
What are the other projects you're working on right now? Because I know that you have some different stuff going with you and with a group as well.
Yeah. So we're doing me and Jonas Visti.
Yeah.
Who's a host on P8 Jazz, the Danish broadcast jazz channel.
Yeah.
We've been working on an album for I would say about a year now. You
already had some gigs. You already played together live, right?
Yeah, we played a couple of like beta gigs, like trying out stuff.
Yeah.
Which was super interesting, and was actually the first time that I've been like performing live with Ableton.
Okay, cool. How's that?
It was really interesting, but a lot to learn.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's just like anything else, and like anything in production and in Ableton in general, like it goes kind of as deep as you want it to go.
Sure.
You could also just keep it surface level and like just have some tracks in Ableton playing, you know, and you're like kind of, you can DJ that, or you can have like live stuff and play synthesizers or whatever. So it's like a big rabbit hole of
endless possibilities.
Yeah. So just like figuring out like, when do I stop?
Yeah.
You know, kind of find a middle ground. So I'm still trying to find that.
Sure.
But it's good. It's a really, really interesting. It's going to be a really interesting album.
Yeah.
I think it's funny mixture of Balearic and like tropical stuff, and obviously very inspired by Jonas's like Jonas Visti's radio program Vistis Vinyler.
Sure.
Which is like it's like world music in quotation marks. I would guess he would probably be better at explaining it than I am. But like he. So like inspired by a lot of like old African records, and I think and obviously Brazilian records, because that's how he started out. So it's like this big melting pot of all sorts of things, and like with a bass in electronic and in dance music.
I'm looking so much forward to it.
Yeah, but it's really cool. Like, and it's like, let's say 80% done or something.
Oh, it's exciting. Yeah. And how is that working with other people, if you're used to also being in the studio by yourself and being in the booth by yourself, and now you're both playing in this group, and you also have a DJ collective we could talk about later, but how is this working with other people when you're making something creative? Is it difficult, or is it easier, or
I mean, it's just pros and cons, kind of. I really like to do both.
Okay.
For a really long time, I only worked by myself, but I was also, I think, not feeling comfortable with my skills and stuff. So it's like also getting to a certain level where it's like I can offer something to someone else.
Okay.
And then when I started doing that, I started doing. Speaking of when I started out DJing, of when I started like wanting to take it seriously, I wanted to start taking DJing seriously just before Corona hit.
Okay,
I quit my job 1 month before Corona hit. And
super.
And also when we were supposed to not see anyone, that's when I started like collabing with people.
Oh yeah.
Which went fine, you know, and always with a bunch of like, oh, how are you feeling? Oh, I'm just should we take a test? We're gonna take a test or whatever. But I really discovered like collaboration in that period, and it's great.
Yeah,
especially from coming from working alone, it's like, someone else has ideas.
Yeah. And tips and tricks, and like also when you have somebody else you're making stuff with, it's not like it's all on your shoulders. I feel like if you have your own track and it's about to come out, and you're like can't really let it go because it's all on you somehow. But when you make something collectively, it's like it's another thing. Like it's togetherness.
Definitely. You're right on the money.
Right on the money.
Because me and Jonas, we do this all the time at the moment. If like someone is taking the lead on a track, then it is, you know, the other person most of the time would be like, it's done.
Yeah, okay.
I hear it, you know, it's done. There's nothing to do. Just leave it, you know.
That's nice.
Send it off to mix.
Okay. But we're looking so much forward to listening to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be really awesome.
And how is it going to come out? Is it on a label?
Yeah, I don't think I can say it. I'm not sure I can say anything about that.
Okay,
yet.
but usually when you do tracks, what labels do you work with?
I'm working on an album right now that's gonna come out on Music for Dreams.
Okay.
Which is Kenneth Bayer's label.
Yeah, a legend.
Yeah, absolute legend, and we could talk a lot about him, but but he's awesome, and they're an amazing team.
Yeah, and they understand you and your style and your vibe and your music, right?
Yeah, I really feel so, and in general, also speaking to collaborations, that's another thing. Just like having someone involved in the process at all is just a huge help.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have this DJ crew and party collective with me and a couple of other people called 21G, which is a DJ collective. How's that been for you? Like, it's been almost a year now we're playing together, and I went from playing by myself, doing gigs, long nights alone, and now I'm doing it with my friends and colleagues. And how have you been finding it? Like,
yeah, but I think just like you know, it's just an amazing feeling to have colleagues.
Yeah,
you know, DJing
definitely,
and just being a collective.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's also what we talked about, like before we formed it, right? Like this feeling of having our own community, being DJs and like learning from each other and stuff. Yeah, it's amazing. It's so crazy how fast you can pick up stuff, and how much like I feel like I've grown as a DJ.
Definitely.
Playing with you guys.
Yeah, me too.
And actually that's something I thought about with my set. Is that I think before we started DJing, I feel like the kind of DJ that I was more so at that point was like I always wanted to like go into a set with like I'm gonna stick to my guns kind of. Like I'm just gonna do what I want to do. Coming back to like how DJing at least can be like a very selfish thing. Yeah,
or a showcase of what you have, or like I know what you mean.
Yeah, like really like sticking to a thing and like being stubborn and like not being like moving with it and be like, okay, maybe let's just do something else.
Yeah,
and that's also I think a question of being prepared enough as a DJ to actually switch gears. Yeah, you know, because maybe if you're just like focused on something, and that's also cool. Like, and for you know certain genres and certain types of DJs, maybe that's the perfect thing for them to do. But I feel like for me it was like a huge thing to learn. Like, let's just like drop the pretense and like obviously play some stuff that I think is important, but also like build upon it with stuff that I know works, and people will go home and feel like, oh, that was a cool moment.
Yeah, and like immerse yourself in the party and be a part of the dance floor, and not presenting something for them. Like you do both, but you need to do both somehow. Yeah, I feel like my skills also has become a lot better, a lot quicker, because there's already like there's somebody everywhere doing stuff, and you pick up stuff. It's like it's wonderful. One of the last things I wanted to ask you is there anybody other than Tartar that you're listening to both locally and abroad? DJs, artists? What interests you right now in like a sonic space?
I'm listening to a lot of progressive house stuff. There's a lot going on, like
definitely
Permanent Vacation stuff. Sally C, a local guy that's also into this is B from E, which is you know
he's on the show.
Yeah, he's everyone in Copenhagen knows he's he's probably one of the best house producers.
He's your
Denmark.
DJ's favorite DJ.
Yeah, and he's awesome. And he does a lot of progressive stuff. There's a guy called Favør.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Danish guy.
Yeah.
Does some progressive stuff as well. And
I don't know.
Just started getting into like emulation, like PS2 emulation.
Yeah.
I played a lot of SSX3 at the moment.
Sure.
The soundtrack is fucking amazing. Actually, and it's also a lot of like kind of the same vibe, like very 90s style.
Sure.
Breaky house.
Yeah, I feel that, you know, also the PlayStation jungle vibes and like that whole soundscape is coming back into progressive house. And also the trancier stuff, and It's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. I really love it. I have this. Do you know this feeling when something new happens in a scene and you find it and you're like so excited, but you're also like I'm already afraid that it's gonna go out of style.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's going to be too quick.
Yeah,
and like. Yeah, I hope it sticks because it's so fun. Like it's such good dance music.
Because the funny thing is, I felt that way about Italo like a year ago.
Yeah.
Because that was really in, but I already feel like maybe it's going out. I mean, I will always have always play Italo just because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like it rules. And,
and you've also played with Tommy Boy and Boogie Rookie on the not Tommy Boy.
Yeah, only me and Boogie, we played a really
at his club.
Yeah, the Dolce Vita. So shouts out to
shout out always
to Boogie Rookie, the best,
of course.
Yeah,
but this has been wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for letting me talk about Tartaglia and Picasso.
And thank you for the music, and thank you for being here and bringing your beautiful family. It's really been wonderful.
That was my pleasure.
Okay, man. Thank you.